172,000. That's the number my book of business hit. And it all started at 7,000. I'm going to break down exactly how I did it, what the three systems were that made the difference, and how you can apply the same playbook to your own service business. By the end of this video, you're going to know what the systems were, how each one worked, and what it would look like to build them for yourself. If you appreciate this type of content, please hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people like yourself find this. Let me give you some context on where this started, because the before state matters just as much as the results. And I think it's going to sound familiar to a lot of you. This was a company selling to service business owners. It was a commercial cleaning operators, local business owners running crews, right? And the business had referrals coming in, good referrals, the kind that close fast because the trust is already baked in. Here's the thing about referrals though. They are your foundation. They will always matter. If your customers love your product or your service, the word of mouth is worth more than any ad you'll practically ever run. But referrals alone have a problem. You can't control them. You can plan a quarter around them. The timing is unpredictable. The volume is inconsistent. And if the pipeline dries up in January, you're scrambling. So the referrals were there. The gap was everything. No system for going out and finding new clients proactively. When I came into the company, I wasn't there to fix the product. The product was pretty much solid. It was a service, right? I was there to build the growth engine, the three systems that would run lead generation, follow up, scheduling on autopilot so that the business wasn't dependent on timing and luck. That's exactly what I built. Systems 1 is the lead generation, right? System 2 is the follow-up, and system 3 is the scheduling. So jumping into systems 1, the lead generation. And this is where most service business are leaving the most money on the table. Before any automation was in place, finding new prospects was fully manual. Think about what that looks like in practice. You're looking up businesses one by one, trying to figure it out if they're even a fit, building a list from scratch, writing outreach from scratch. At any kind of scale, that's hours a day. Hours that should be going towards closing the people who are already in your pipeline. Here's what I built instead. I used a combination of data scraping and AI enrichment to build targeted lead lists automatically, right? The sweet spot here was local commercial cleaning company prospects, businesses with the right size, the right type of location, the right signals that were a fit. The data would get pulled automatically and feed into a Notion CRM. CRM is customer relationship management tool that I built from scratch on the Notion platform. So everything had a home and nothing slipped through the cracks. But a list is just a list. The second half of the lead generation is outreach, reaching out to potential customers, clients. This is where AI changed everything. Instead of one generic email going out to 500 people, I was able to use AI to pull one or two specific details about each prospect's business and write a first line that felt personal. The outreach felt real because the underlying research was authentic. AI did the heavy lifting on executing it. And the result of all of this is that there was a consistent flow of net new prospects entering the pipeline every week without anyone having to manually build the list or write a cold email from scratch. The system ran in the background, and that's system 1. Now, if you're finding value in this so far, drop a like on the video. Again, it helps more people find it. And drop a comment below what type of service businesses you run, whether it's HVAC, commercial cleaning company, roofing, etc., and what your biggest bottleneck is right now, right? Whether it's lead generation, getting clients, whether it's following up so that you can maintain the relationship with your clients, whether it's scheduling or anything else. I read every comment, and I might make a detailed breakdown around whatever comes up most. Now, systems 1 here mentioned how I was able to do an outreach touches, right? And I was able to close and convert 500 entities. I was able to have different conversations. And out of those 500 conversations that I had, I was able to close 15. Ideally, most salespeople, when they're starting out or when they're trying to grow, they would quit after starting, whether on touchpoint or 3. The late stage deals are where the money is because at that point, you already have the experience. System 2 is the follow-up. And this is where most of the actual money gets made and where most people honestly drop the ball. Here's what happens constantly with service business owners, right? A prospect reaches out. So let's say a restaurant. It's like, hey, I want to see that you guys are a cleaning company. I'm interested. And then life happens, right? The restaurant gets busy. They don't respond to the first email when you're reaching out back to them to confirm the day that you can go. The business owner follows up once, maybe twice, and then life happens. The truth is that most deals don't close on their first touch or their second. The majority of conversations happen after multiple follow-ups, and most salespeople, most business owners, give up way too early. So what do? You automate it. I build an automated follow-up sequences that would go out at the right intervals in the right tone without anyone needing to remember to send them or anything, right? Email 1 goes out. Okay, that's the first outreach. It's warm, it's specific. Whether I could talk about whether I visited the restaurant prior to, or where I noticed that the service is amazing, but that maybe there's a way to clean a certain spot a little better, or where you also don't want to scare them away, but you want to be frank and very authentic about trying to help them, right? So if the first email gets sent out, there's no response, then email 2 goes out at least 3 days later, right? Slightly different angle, still warm, still personalized enough so that it doesn't feel like a robot wrote it, because before you sequence goes out, right? The sequence is multiple emails or multiple touches, whether it's calls, emails, DMs. You want to make sure that it sounds like it was authentic, right? So, and then after day 3, day 7 is another touch. And then you wait another week, and day 14 is a check-in with a different value angle, right? So what changed? Prospects would have gone cold when it comes to like converting, not because we were being annoying, but because we were being consistent in a way that really felt human, at a frequency or a cadence that made sense, giving them some space, right? The automated sequence handled all of the nurturing. And when someone did respond, whether it was a yes, no, or not right now, the sequence would stop afterwards and we would be able to have a real conversation and pick up from there. The AI would handle the nurturing, the human aspect, right? Handle the closing, and that's how it should work. That would be systems 2. Now we jump into systems 3, the scheduling. And I know it sounds like the boring piece, but hear me out, because friction in scheduling kills deals. So think about this, right? Think about the back and forth. Does Tuesday work? Tuesday's bad for me. What about Thursday? Thursday afternoon, I have something. How about Friday morning? By the time you've gone 5 emails deep just to pick a time, the energy is pretty much like low or dead, right? The prospect has moved on to something else already because it became difficult to schedule the actual call. So the fix is honestly one of the fastest things to implement and one of the highest return on investment changes that you can make. Automating scheduling links connected to a live calendar that lets a prospect book a time in 30 seconds. There's no back and forth. They get the link from the outreach email, from the follow-up sequence, and they're able to pick a slot. Done. Calendar is blocked. The confirmation email is sent. When I added this to the workflow, the conversion went from interested prospect to booked call, and it went up noticeably, right? Because we removed the friction that was causing people to either drop off between I'm curious and let's actually talk. If you're a service business owner watching this and thinking, hey, I need this for my business, I want to save some time, I want to be able to get some extra revenue because you're so busy doing the actual work, I actually work directly with businesses to build these systems, customized to your niche, your client type, your existing workflow. The link is in the description to book a free discovery call. We'll talk through what makes sense for your situation, and the first conversation we'll have is completely free, so no need to worry. Now, beyond the 3 main systems, there are 2 tactics that made a real difference, and I'd be leaving something out if I didn't mention them, right? The customs checklist and the free demos. We built a hyper-specific industry-relevant checklist, right? So depending on what industry you're in, depending in what type of service you're in, right? This is the kind of thing that a cleaning company, for example, would actually find useful, right? Think about the owner, right? Think of an operations audit, right? Or a guide on evaluating your cleaning process. Let's say these becomes lead magnets or ways to attract potential prospects and potential clients for you. Prospects are going to request them, right? Gave us a warm lead, low friction touch point to start a real conversation when I was working at the cleaning company. And it positioned the business as the helpful expert before any pitch ever happened, because useful beats salesy every single time. The free demo was the second thing. So instead of pitching the service and hoping that the prospect could imagine the value, we showed them quick, no cost demo of what the product or service could do for the specific situation, right? Low commitment for them, high trust builder for us. When someone has already seen the value in action, the sales conversation is a different one. This is like when I was working at the cleaning company, right? The free demo would be a check, right? Would be me going in maybe for 2 days and showing them what our cleaning would look like compared to if they didn't have a cleaning company, and that was fairly simple, or if they did have a competitor. And I would show them that we could do different kind of cleaning, either deep cleaning, think about the kitchen, think about the vents, right? All of this lived inside the Notion customer relationship management tool, the Notion CRM that I built from scratch, right? Every lead, every conversation, every stage of the pipeline, it was visible, trackable, organized. There was no spreadsheet chaos to create additional friction. There was no wait, where did that extra lead go, etc. No. So it is very important to have everything organized and structured so that there is a decreased risk when it comes to you working on the actual job. By the way, if you want to see what the full AI automation setup looks like and you're not sure where to start, there's a link in the description and in the pinned comment below to book a free call. We'll figure out together, again, what makes sense for your specific situation. So the starting point, $7,000 in annual recurring revenue. So that was one client bringing in a little under $1,000 a month. And after we were able to implement, I was able to implement the 3 systems, right, that were fully running, the automated lead generator that would bring in clients, the follow-up sequences to maintain the relationship with the clients and the prospective customers, the scheduling automation to make sure that anybody reaches out, there's no issue when it comes to scheduling the call, the Notion CRM to have everything structured and organized, the checklist as a freebie to give that to potential clients and customers on what they could need. Let's say if you're a cleaning company that needs the different kinds of things that you're cleaning, or let's say you're an HVAC company, right? When you provide somebody a checklist when they got to check the AC, or if you're a roofer and you got to make sure are the shingles properly placed? Is there any underlying issues, right? All of this. And then even the demos, right? Demos is specifically important because it shows them in action what they are missing, right? After implementing all of that, we were able to peak annual recurring revenue at $172,000. That was going from 1 client to 8 clients simultaneously at the same time with an average deal size of about $21,500 a year, right? With a 20% close rate on the discovery calls, on the first calls that I make with the walkthrough. I want to be real with you guys about something. The numbers came from a combination of systems and the effort that went into building the relationships, from doing good demos and closing the right way. The automation doesn't replace that. What it does is amplify it. Instead of spending most of your time on the repetitive work like building the list, following up manually, back and forth scheduling, you'll be able to get to spend your time on the things that only a human can do, which is understanding what a prospect actually needs and making a compelling case for why your solution is the right one. That's the real unlock. So what does that mean for you? If you're running a service business, a cleaning company, a construction company, a landscaping business, a plumbing business, whatever it is, the same 3 problems probably exist in your business right now. The lead generation is inconsistent. Say you're not getting clients consistently. Your follow-up may be falling through the cracks, and your scheduling eats the time that you can be doing the work when it shouldn't. Here's what I've seen over and over again. The businesses that start fixing these things with AI automation aren't the biggest companies. And they're not the ones with the biggest teams. They're the ones who decide to stop doing the repetitive work manually and build a system to handle it. Referrals will come. Those are your foundation. Never stop investing into them, right? Now there's a predictable layer on top, the growth engine running in the background, generating new conversations while you're out doing the actual work. If you want to see what this looks like for your specific business, your niche, your client type, your current bottleneck, the link is in the description below. Book a free discovery call. I'll walk you through what I build and you can decide from there whether it makes sense or not. Thank you, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.